So for those of you who don't know Prabhu, he has been involved with Iskcon Toronto for a number of years in various capacities, from temple management to mentorship, and is actively engaged in giving classes throughout the GTA. So we're very fortunate to have him here today. And I won't take too much more time. I'll hand it over to Prabhu so we can get the full benefit of his knowledge that he'll share with us today.
विष्णुपाद परमहंस श्री श्री 108 श्री एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीवीटी फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री गौरताय की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ श्री बलदेव श्रीमती सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। भक्ति विघ्न विनाशकारी नृसिंहदेव की जय। प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। तुलसी महाराज की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru Shiva. Namo Vishwadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pacharine. Nirvishesh Shunivadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Is this okay? That might be okay. Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Vidyateli Prabhu, for giving me an opportunity to come here and speak a few words. Welcome to all of you to this particular program. So it's going on for how many years? 10, 12, 15?
11 years.
11 years. All right, so thank you. Of course, one of the pillars of this particular temple here, one sitting beside him as well. And so today I asked Vijay Prabhu what topic he wanted me to speak on and what particular verse. And he said, any verse you want. So I guess I'm going to speak about any verse in Bhagavad Gita. But the main thing I thought about was, what is Iskcon about? First of all, what does Iskcon stand for? Somebody wants to shout out the full explanation of Iskcon?
International Society of Krishna Consciousness.
International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Thank you. So, if you go to any temple in Iskcon, there are certain activities that happen everywhere. So, for example, we're doing a class today. We just before the Guru Aarti, I will do another Aarti after the class. We have prasadam distribution, book distribution. Every temple you go anywhere in the world, it's the same thing. However, the name of the organization, Srila Prabhupada did not put as Iskcon Society for Kirtan, Iskcon Society for Prasadam, Iskcon Society for Lecture. He didn't say any of those. He said, no, Iskcon Society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So where is that connection? Where is that connection between what's everything we are doing in every temple consistently and consciousness or Krishna consciousness? So we'll talk about that today. Also, why is it that Srila Prabhupada and Krishna emphasizes so much this point about Krishna consciousness? Okay, so now there are a number of verses in Bhagavad Gita that refer to the word consciousness or Krishna consciousness. And actually there are two words that are used very often. One is chitta, which basically means consciousness. And another word is chetana, which also means the same thing. They're basically two derivatives of the same word. The number of verses here that are using those terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a verse that describes the consciousness and other activities of a pure devotee. Then we move on to other verses that have Krishna encouraging us through Arjuna to fix our consciousness upon him. And then he talks about, Arjuna, what happens if you don't fix your consciousness upon me, if you don't listen to my instructions and you act on your own, what happens? So we'll talk about that also because that's a problem most of us have. We want to do what we want to do, not what Krishna wants us to do. So we'll talk about that, okay? So we'll start with chapter 10. Do you distribute the book? Thank you, Mother. Okay, so if you open chapter 10, text 9. Okay, so chapter 10, text 9. In my book's page number 431, I'm not sure what it is in yours. So it should be around there, 431. Chapter 10, text 9. Okay, everybody have? Alright. So we're going to read this. Mat chitta mad gat prana Udvaitah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam dushyanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So here you see again the very first word, Majjitta. Their minds fully engaged in me, which means the consciousness fixed upon me. Now some of you may remember another verse from chapter 3, where Krishna talks about the hierarchy of our senses, mind, intelligence, and consciousness. And he says that the senses are superior to sense objects. Sense objects are like we see a form of something, we hear something like music, good music or something, or we touch something. All those are sense objects that we perceive through our senses. We see something, we hear something, we touch something. That's the interaction between the senses and the sense objects. So Krishna says senses are superior to sense objects. Superior in the sense that senses can decide if they're going to become attracted to this particular object or not. Objects don't decide, they're dead matter. But the senses decide whether they're going to become attached to or attracted to the sense objects. Clear so far? I'm not confusing anybody. But above the senses, means superior to the senses, is our mind. Our mind controls the senses. Above the mind is intelligence. What's the function of intelligence? Anybody?
To discriminate.
To discriminate, to tell the right from the wrong. Intelligence controls the mind, whose job, by the way, is to think, to feel, and to will. Thinking, feeling, and willing are the jobs of mind. So intelligence controls that. Above that is the consciousness. Consciousness controls the mind. So let me explain that. There are two types of consciousness. Anybody? What are the two types? One we just mentioned.
Krishna
Consciousness and material consciousness. So Krishna consciousness and material consciousness. Krishna consciousness means we are always aware of Krishna. Aware means we are very aware what Krishna wants. We are very aware Krishna is watching me. We are very aware Krishna is sitting with me as I'm chanting. We are very aware Krishna is there for me. That is Krishna consciousness. On the other hand, material consciousness is who cares about Krishna. Let me have fun here, let me have fun there, let me do this, let me do that, let me get this degree, that degree, this job, that job, let's go to this club, that club, have fun here, have fun there. In the meantime, have a couple. That's material consciousness, right? So those are the two types of consciousness. And the consciousness is the characteristic of the soul. So consciousness is the intrinsic characteristic of the soul, which we all are. Right? Anybody doubt that? Anybody thinks we're not the soul? Okay, how many act like that? Okay, anyway, different question. So, the intrinsic characteristic of the soul is consciousness, which can be either Krishna consciousness or material consciousness. Depending upon that, the instruction from consciousness to intelligence is what is right. If it's Krishna consciousness, going to the temple, chanting, reading Srila Prabhu's book, associating with devotees, those are the right things to do. That's the instruction to the intelligence. That is, intelligence says, don't go to the club, don't watch Netflix, don't do this, don't do that. Right? On the other hand, if it's material consciousness, now the instructions are different. The right thing to do is to go to the club, pick up a girl, pick up a boy, whatever, get drunk, have some fun, Satyanaal Raho, Ash Karoge, all those kind of things. That enjoy life, it's all about enjoyment. That's the right thing to do in the material consciousness. And when the consciousness is like that, mind is like that, intelligence is like that, The mind is thinking, feeling and willing according to the intelligence. So intelligence says, get a degree, get a job, go to the club, enjoy, have fun. Then mind says, I'm thinking, feeling and willing to do all those things. Then it instructs the senses. Go find, a girl or a boy, go find a drink, go find a job, go do this, go do that. All the material things you can imagine. Mind is instructing the senses to do that. And therefore that becomes a life. On the other hand, Krishna conscious tells intelligence the right thing to go to the temple. It tells the mind, you should be thinking about the temple, you should be thinking about reading a book, you should be thinking about associating with devotees, you should be willing to do all that. Mind says, okay. And mind instructs the senses. Hey, don't watch Netflix, let's talk about Thakur Haridas. No, don't go to the club, let's go to the temple. Don't have all this mundane first, have some devotee association. Senses say, all right, so we'll do all that. And what becomes attractive is watching the arti, hearing the Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Nam, so on. My point is, life becomes totally different depending upon what the consciousness is. Now, is that concept clear? Because the whole class is going to be based on that particular point. You like what your consciousness says. So Lord Krishna said, become Krishna conscious. Machchitta. Become conscious of me. Which means consciousness is going to tell the intelligence the right thing to do is to think about me, to depend upon me, to talk about me. And the mind says, I'm willing to do it, all that. And the senses say, okay, great. Let me go wash the temple, the floor of the temple. Let me cook some dishes for Lord Krishna. Let me offer bhoga. Again, everything's along. So Krishna here is saying that pure devotees are machchitta, which means their consciousness is always fixed upon me. And then he talks about because their consciousness is fixed upon me, look at the activities they do. Bodhiyantas paraspara, which means they talk about me. They talk about me all the time. They always do Krishna Katha. They don't want to hear anything else. There's so many stories about the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, Thakur Haridas, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, spending all night, Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, spending all night doing Krishna Katha. Lord Chaitanya, all day he will dance, he will visit the Jagannath Puri temple and all sorts of things, and all night he'll talk to Swarup Damodar and Ramananda, who were actually Lalita and Vishakha Sakhis, about Krishna. Because his consciousness was all Krishna. Well, he was Krishna himself, but his consciousness was playing the role of a devotee. So then next thing is Kathyantasya Mam Nityam. Every day, all the time, they're discussing this. And that is where their satisfaction comes. That is where their happiness comes. All from being always conscious of Krishna. So what happens is, people like me who are what you would call neophyte, they're starting to get into Krishna consciousness. So we start to get our pleasure from simply serving the Lord and the lost devotees. But as we make progress, we move from getting pleasure simply from serving to actually become established on a platform of love of Krishna. And then it's not an effort. It's not something I have to think about doing. It happens spontaneously. Because that's all I can think of, that's all I want to do, that's what I will do. It's like, for example, a new mother. All that she can think of all the time is her little baby, newborn baby. Because that's the love. That's the mother's love. So similarly, a devotee who is established on the platform of love, all they can think of is how do I serve Krishna? How can I improve my service? And they can't think of anything else, and they're not interested in anything else. So then we jump up to chapter 18, and we go to text number 57. In my books, page 697, I don't know what it is on yours. Chapter 18, text 57. Everybody has? Okay, so we'll read this again. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashritya matchittaha satatam bhava. Now he's instructing Arjuna. He's saying, in all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So he's telling Arjuna, who's acting like not a liberated soul that he is, but a conditioned soul, who's not as Krishna conscious as should be. And how do we know Arjuna was not being as Krishna conscious as he should be? It's right from chapter 1, when he started talking about, oh, you may not have to kill my relatives. Oh, even if I win, then my hands will be tainted with the blood of my relatives. How will I enjoy my kingdom, having killed my friends and my relatives? All that, and all that is on bodily platform. And he's thinking that he will be the decision maker. He will kill the people. He will enjoy the kingdom. That's all on the bodily platform, which means that his consciousness is not fixed on Krishna yet. Okay? So, that's people like us. So Krishna is giving him an instruction, saying that be fully conscious of me. Now what does that mean? Be fully conscious of me. So there's another verse that we won't go into detail of, chapter 8, text 7, where Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusma yuddhijai. Krishna is saying, whatever you do, all the time you do that while at the same time remembering me. That's Krishna consciousness again. So you could have a job, you could have a business. You do that. Don't stop doing all that. You have family to take care of. But you do all that while remembering Krishna. What does remembering Krishna mean? Remembering Krishna means, Krishna, I acknowledge your power. Krishna, I acknowledge your superiority. Krishna, I acknowledge your potencies. Krishna, I acknowledge you are the supreme controller. But my dear Krishna, I also know you are my supreme well-wisher. You won't let anything go wrong. You will do whatever is best for me because you are my well-wisher. And therefore, I will depend completely upon Krishna for whatever results he has planned for me in this activity. That is what remembering Krishna means. So Krishna is saying, do whatever you do, whatever your businesses do, go ahead and do that. But do that while always remembering me, meaning being always fully dependent upon me. Whatever results you get will be given by me. Yours is to endeavor, mine is to give the results. That's why much earlier in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 47, it says, Karmanevadikaraste, ma phaleshwara. Yours is to do, mine is to give the results. I'm not going to worry about what you do, you don't worry about what results I give you. Just depend upon me. Accept the fact whatever I give you is good for you, either in the short term or in the long term. But it is good for you. So here he's saying, Arjuna, you forgot that because you're thinking, how will I do, or how will I do, and what will happen? Because you are not depending upon me. So now I'm telling you, change your consciousness. So that's always fixed upon me, that you're always conscious of me. And just depend upon me and work always under my protection. So in other words, don't try to become independent of Krishna. There was a Mataji in Iskcon, Toronto. This happened about 10 years ago. And she was having a very, very rough time in her life. Very rough time. She was a great devotee. She was always serving. But having this really rough life. So I guess one day she got very frustrated. And she came to me and said, Prabhu, I'm running away from Krishna. this is too much, I cannot take this anymore. I just looked at her and I said, Mataji, whenever you find that place that's away from Krishna, let me know, I'll come with you. And then she understood what I was saying. There is no place that is not under the jurisdiction of Krishna. There is nothing happens in this world without the desire, sanction, permission of Krishna. There's nothing you can ever do that's not planned by Krishna. There's nothing we can ever achieve that's not given to us by Krishna. And we get into trouble because we forget those very simple things. So Krishna's reminding us through Arjuna that always depend upon me. And he's not pleading, he's not requesting, he's telling you it's not a choice. You are dependent upon me whether you want it or not. You can be dependent upon me grudgingly, or you can be dependent upon me willingly. But dependent you are. It's not a choice. It's like a 5-day-old baby. When the mother gives him milk, it's not a choice whether it's formula milk or the breast milk. Baby doesn't make that choice. Mother makes that choice for whatever reason. Same thing. We don't make a choice what results we're going to get. Otherwise, everybody will have their sons become engineers, doctors, and multimillionaires. Every parent wants that, but not every parent gets that. Why? Because whatever Krishna has planned. We all come to Canada with the dreams of becoming multimillionaire within 2 years. Having all this properties, but not everybody does. Why? Because Krishna has a different plan. Those of us who are able to accept our dependence upon Krishna and therefore the results, whatever they are from Krishna, we are happy. Those of us who cannot accept, we are very unhappy. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna, depend upon me all the time. But know that you are always under my protection. Just know that I am always here to protect you. And I'll give you some examples. Specific case of Arjuna. But actually, I'm going to wait. I'm sorry. I'm going to wait for the next person. I'm not giving that example. So let's go to the next person. Then 58. Krishna tells Arjuna, Macchitta sarva durgani mad prasadati rashyasi at chetvam ahankaran nashossasi vinanshasi. Krishna says, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Strong words here, I'm going to explain to you. Very strong words. So first thing Krishna is talking about, if you become conscious of it, which is what we've been talking about. When we are conscious of Krishna's presence all the time, we're conscious of Krishna's supremacy all the time, we're conscious of Krishna's omnipotence all the time, we're conscious of Krishna's omniscience all the time, then it's easy to depend upon him. And Krishna is saying, if you do that, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. Now, anybody here who never had any obstacles in your life? Anybody? Just raise your hand. Nothing ever went wrong. Whatever you wanted to do just went exactly the way you wanted. Anybody? No? Really? Okay, anyway, yeah. That's the situation with everyone in the material world. So he's saying, but if you do that, I will take care of all the obstacles in your life. So this is where I was going when I said, I'll do this again. Let's talk about what were the obstacles in front of Arjuna during the battle of Mahabharata. Anybody? What was one? I'm going to give one example so you get an idea. Bhishma was an obstacle for him. Who else was an obstacle? Dronacharya. Who else? Karna. Dhritarashtra? Yeah, sure. Yeah, because he caused all the whole war to happen. Yeah. So he had lots of these obstacles. Let's take them one at a time and see how Krishna helped remove those obstacles from in front of Arjuna. Now, imagine the scenario. Bhishma Pitama is standing in front of Arjuna on his chariot. Arjuna is in his chariot. The war between the two is going to start. Who do you think is going to win? Just general. Bhishma Pitama was so much stronger than Arjuna. 1,000 Arjunas could not defeat Bhishma. Bhishma was so strong, he defeated Parashuram, Lord Parashuram, in the battle. Arjuna had no chance at all in front of Bhishma Pitama. But for Krishna's help, but for Krishna's protection. So what did Krishna do? What did he say? Anybody knows? What did Krishna do to help Arjuna in this situation? Nobody knows?
Perform your duty. Perform your duty.
I can't hear you.
Perform your duty.
No. In this particular instance, when Bhishma is standing in front of Arjuna, ready to start the fight.
I think he had a wheel car.
That's much later.
Told him the way to destroy Vishnu.
I'm sorry?
Told him the way to go about.
No. He put Shikhandi with Arjuna. Who was Shikhandi? Shikhandi was a woman, Ambalika, in the previous life. They had a big, long story, I won't go into that. Bhishma's point was, I'm Kshatriya, I will not fight in front of a woman. So that is why Bhishma dropped his weapons, stood like this, I'm not fighting. And Krishna told Arjuna, shoot your arrows. That's the only way Arjuna could ever have defeated Bhishma, was if Bhishma did not fight back. That's the only way. So Krishna did that. Let's take Karna. Now, Karna and Arjuna, hard to say who would have won. But still, Karna was very, very strong. And at one point, Karna, when they were battling, Arjuna and Karna took a particular arrow, which is known as Sarp Astra. Sarp means snake. Now, this snake, by the name of Takshak, you may have heard. The whole story about Srimad Bhagavatam, and he comes and bites Parikshit Maharaj. That same Takshak. He had been, Arjuna had caused a forest fire in Khandirvan. And Takshak had to run away from them. And from that day on, Takshak became a mortal enemy of Arjuna. So he cooperated with Karna and said, I'll sit on the arrow and I never fail. So you shoot that arrow upon Arjuna's forehead. Krishna knew that. So here they are, Karna and Arjuna, in the battle. They're doing their mantras and shooting their arrows, and Karna takes out this serp arrow, this snake arrow, and shoots it. Krishna knows there's no way on earth Arjuna can escape this particular arrow. So what did he do? He pressed the chariot with his toe. The chariot went down in the earth, and the arrows went and hit the ground of Arjuna, thus saving Arjuna's life. Arjuna didn't have any idea what happened. But for Krishna, Arjuna would have been dead that day. So here's Krishna protecting his devotee. So many stories. I will go on and on. There's not enough time left. But the point is, Krishna is saying, you become Krishna conscious, I will protect you. You depend upon me, I'll make sure you get the results you want. Sorry. You get the results that are good for you. Because that's not always the same as what you want. Okay? So Krishna is giving his guarantees here. Majjitta sarvadurgani. Whatever obstacles you get in your life, I will remove them. And then he says something very interesting. Second line, he says, Atchetatam ahankaram nashosasi vinashasi. However, if you don't listen to what I just told you, if you don't follow the instruction I just gave you, then my dear Arjun, you will be destroyed. Now what does that mean? You will be destroyed. You will be destroyed means you will be stuck in the material world. And you will be going, spinning like that wheel, just keep ghuming and ghuming and ghuming, just going around and around in that spinning wheel. No escape. So here you will be in the material world, up and down, sometimes in the lower species, sometimes in the higher species, sometimes in human species. But that's all you will do. If that's what you want to do, don't listen to me. But if you ever want to have an opportunity to get out, listen to me. Now, so why is it that sometimes we don't listen to Krishna or Krishna stuff? Anybody? Why is it that sometimes we don't listen? Some of us never listen, but a lot of us sometimes don't listen to Krishna stuff. Why is it that? Anybody?
Because
Yes.
conditioning of so many past lives.
Sure, yeah. Same thing, yeah, okay.
And we also invite Krishna sometimes.
We also what?
Invite Krishna.
Invite Krishna? Huh?
Envy.
Envy. Okay. We absolutely do. But why do we envy Krishna?
Yeah, because of our false ego, we
False
always think
ego.
everything's another person.
What is false ego?
I am.
So, I.
Body.
I. You know, I was thinking the other day, how many alphabets does the English language have? 26. If the English language had only 25 alphabets, this world would be a great place to live in. It's just that one letter that screws up everything. And that is I. If that I wasn't there, this would be such a better place to live in. If I want this, this is mine, I did this, I created that, you know, and it just becomes problem, a real problem. I makes us cry. But we don't realize that. And that's why we cry all the time. We think, oh, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. But we're crying all the time. So Krishna is saying, if you come under the influence of that I, and you forget the K, that's me, then you'll be destroyed. In other words, you'll be stuck in the material world. If you want to get out, if you want to live a happy, blissful life permanently, then you got to accept my instructions. And I'm giving you some guarantees. And then, just in case he did not understand, he goes to the next verse. It's really amazing. He says, Yadi Hankaram Ashritya, verse 59. Yadi Hankaram Ashritya, Na Yosi iti manyase, Mithyash Vyavasayaste, Prakritis Tvam Niyokshati. Now he's being very clear, saying, if you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. What he's saying is, fine, it's your choice. Whether you listen to me or not, whether you follow my instructions or not, that is your choice. No question about it. However, if you don't follow my instructions and do what your little heart desires, what your false ego desires, what your I wants you to do, then what will happen? He says here, you will be forced to act by your nature. What does that mean? You're forced to act by you. It means that we all have a nature born out of our modes of material nature. How many modes of material nature are there? 3. What are they?
More of passion, more of ignorance, more of goodness.
Goodness. So every one of us has some amount of each one of those 3. There's nobody who's purely in the mode of goodness, ignorance, or passion. We all have a little bit of. And that combination determines what our nature is. Some are generous by nature, some of us are miserly, some of us are cruel by nature, some of us are very kind, so on and so forth. Everybody is, and you're forced to act according to our nature. So here Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you are Kshatriya. What's the nature of Kshatriya? Anyone?
Fight.
Fight.
Protect the people.
To protect other people, but fight for having to protect other people. Krishna saying, you will fight. If you don't fight this battle, you're talking about going into jungle, you go to jungle, and you pick a fight with somebody there. I go somewhere else, you pick a fight with somebody else, because that is your nature. There will be itch in your muscles that has to be satisfied, so you pick a fight. So fights you will no matter what. If you fight because you want to fight, then it will end up in what's known as sinful reaction. And when you get sinful reaction, then you have to pay for it. To pay for it, you have to come back in this material world. But probably in a worse situation, a sinful reaction, than you have today. On the other hand, if you do what I'm telling you to do, and I'm telling you to fight, then there's no reaction. Because you're doing what I'm telling you to do. Same activity because of devotional service. So look at two people in the battle of Mahabharata, Duryodhana and Arjuna. Was Duryodhana doing anything different from Arjuna during the battle? Yes, no?
Consciousness.
During
the material consciousness?
No, that's true, but in terms of activity. He was also shooting arrows, Arjuna was shooting arrows. He was fighting with his mace, Arjuna was fighting with some other weapon. But they were all using their weapons to kill the other side. Both of them. Right? However, what Arjuna did was devotional service. What Duryodhana did was sinful activity. But they were doing the same thing. There was no difference. The difference was the cause, the reason why they were doing this. One was doing it absolutely out of ego, self-interest, self-gratification, all the material thought processes. Arjuna was being asked to do it simply because Krishna wanted him to do. That's the only difference. Even Arjuna was saying before, I don't want to fight. He put his weapons down. Krishna says, no, I want you to fight. So once Arjuna starts a fight because Krishna wants him to fight, that fighting becomes devotional service. Does everybody get that concept? It's a very key concept. If you don't, say, Prabhuji, I didn't understand. That's fine. And I'll try it again. Anybody? Sure? Because there's a test after this class. Did I tell you that? So, if you don't understand, say so. Otherwise, so, because Krishna is telling you to do something, that activity becomes devotional service. Because you want to do it for your own self-gratification, it becomes sinful activity. And any activity which is not Krishna conscious activity is sinful activity. Even if it sounds like pious activity. That's another concept I want to throw at you. Even the so-called pious activity is sinful activity which is not Krishna conscious activity. Why is that? That doesn't make any sense. Why is that? We look at it this way. Let's say you did pious activity as giving in charity. Lots of money to the beggars and whatever. You open hospitals. A lot of cancer patients are being treated there. That's all pious activity. But what is the result of that pious activity? Anybody? What is the result of that pious activity? Giving in charity. But what's the result of it?
Good karma.
Reaction.
Good karma, right? What is the meaning of good karma? What does it do to you? What does good karma do to you?
Get reaction.
But what does it do to you? What is that reaction?
Affluent life.
Huh?
Affluent life.
Okay, affluent or not, is another life, right? So good karma keeps you bringing back, whether it's more affluent or not, that's a separate point. But it keeps bringing you back. You can do all the good karmas you want, you still keep coming back. Maybe you become demigod, but you still come back. So what's the problem with coming back?
Again we go through this.
Yeah, janma karma jara vyadhi, the birth, old age, disease and death. That's what this is called body. You know what it's called body? B-O-D-Y, birth, old age, disease and Yamaraj. That's why I call body. Right? So the result of punya is you get a body. And that's never good. Even the richest person, the most powerful person is miserable. Take any example. Take any example you want. So, my point is, any activity that's not Krishna conscious activity is sinful activity because it keeps you bringing back here, this keeps you away from Krishna. So the only activity that's not sinful activity is Krishna conscious activity. And that's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. And that's why taking the example of same battle, same fighting with weapons. One is Krishna conscious activity, therefore devotional service. One is sinful activity. Arjuna and Duryodhana. Pick your.
So one is transcendental and one is not.
One is transcendental because Krishna's instructions. Other is material. So your choice. You want to come back? You want a body? You don't want a body. That's the choice. It's a very conscious choice. Okay? So, then finally, text 60. Subhavajena kaunteya nipaddhasvena karmana kartum nechasi yat mohat kadishya avasho apitat. Krishna is saying, under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction. But compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. He may as well say, oh, you fool. So saying, under illusion, you are declining to act according to my direction. Which means any time and every time we act not according to Krishna's instructions. Or worse yet, contrary to Krishna's instructions, we are under illusion. What does illusion mean, by the way? Anybody? Yeah, but what does it mean? Like in terms of actions, in terms of real stuff. What do you do under illusion?
I'm the body.
I'm the body, yes, absolutely. And when you think you're the body, what do?
Satisfy senses.
Satisfy your senses, self-gratification, exactly right. But when you think I'm not super soul, when I'm soul, when you think you're soul, you're acting on the platform of soul, what do? What do you think?
I'm a servant of.
Satisfy
I'm a servant of Krishna, yes?
Satisfy Krishna.
And I said, my life is about serving Krishna for the satisfaction of Krishna. Simple. When I'm bodily consciousness, I'm thinking only about satisfying my body. When I am Krishna consciousness, I'm thinking only about satisfying Krishna. But the activity may be the same. And that's the whole difference. One gets us closer to Krishna and actually to Krishna. One takes us away from Krishna as far as possible. So, there are two types of potencies that we talk about with Krishna. External potency and internal potency. External potency is also called Maya. Internal potency is called Yoga Maya. Both of them put a person in illusion, but with a slight difference. Maya or Mahamaya, the external potency, puts us in illusion that says, stay away from Krishna. Turn away from Krishna. Don't think about Krishna. You are this body, think about your body. Your Maya, on the other hand, puts us under the illusion, and Mahamaya says, Krishna is not God. You God. He's not the boss, you're the boss. Your Maya, on the other hand, says, you love Krishna. Krishna is not God. See, both of them are saying Krishna is not God. But you love Krishna so much that all you taste is the sweetness of Krishna. The one under the illusion of Mahamaya can never taste the sweetness of Krishna. As a result, the one under the influence of Mahamaya is always afraid of Krishna. Because to them, Krishna is controlling, Krishna is punishing, Krishna is not giving me what I want. On the other one, the one who loves Krishna says, I have to protect Krishna. If I don't feed Krishna, Krishna will die. I mean, you know the story, childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna. Every time a demon came to attack Krishna, Mother Yashoda will be praying to demigods, praying to Lord Narayan, putting, the black thread around his waist, on and on and on, praying and praying and praying, and telling Balaram to protect Krishna. This devotee trying to protect the supreme protector. The devotee trying to nourish the supreme nourisher who nourishes all of us. And that's the difference between the illusions caused by Yoga Maya and material, the external Maya, the Mahamaya. So Krishna is saying here, your choice. You can choose to become an illusion under the influence of Mahamaya by acting by your own egos, false ego. Or you can choose to be under the influence of the illusion of Yoga Maya by acting under the influence of Yoga Maya, which means the influence of you being the soul as opposed to this body. So as long as we are conscious of our consciousness, I'm not trying to play with the words, but it's very important. As long as we are conscious of our consciousness, in other words, are we Krishna conscious? Are we material conscious? Are we Krishna conscious all the time? Are we Krishna conscious only some of the time? Are we material conscious some of the time or all the time? If you're conscious of that all the time, we automatically be Krishna conscious all the time. And when we are doing that, then when we chant, we'll be very aware that the name of the Krishna is non-different from Krishna. Therefore, as I chant my rounds, Krishna is sitting right here with me, giving his association, listening to me chant every word. When I say Hare, he's listening. When I say Ram, he's listening. When I say Hare, he's listening. When I say Krishna, he's listening. And as I chant with more and more focus, with more and more purity, he becomes more and more pleased. When he becomes more and more pleased, he helps me increase my purity. When he helps me increase my purity, I will start to develop that love for Krishna in my heart. When I develop that love for Krishna in my heart, I will become a bit more conscious of Krishna's presence, of Krishna's instructions, what Krishna wants from me, and I will only want to do what Krishna wants. I never want to do what I want. The I stops to exist, K starts to become very prominent. It's Krishna, 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 nothing but Krishna in our life. And that's what Krishna is trying to Arjuna by saying, become conscious of me. So almost time for I'll give some time for questions. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Yeah, so what you say, that person's nature can't change, right? A person's nature, he can't change the nature. So a person who likes to argue a lot. A person who likes to argue a lot, right?
Argue a lot.
Argue a lot. How could he be a Krishna devotee if he likes to argue? Because you said it's either you're for the same nature, right? So, and since you can't change your nature, right, you have to express your own nature in a transcendental way.
Sure.
Okay.
Basically, the material nature which is developed out of material modes of goodness, mode of nature, cannot be changed. However, don't forget we have what's known as free will. What is free will? Free will is our freedom to decide whether we want to be involved in material activities or Krishna conscious activities. Whether you want to serve Maya or Krishna. That's the free will we have. So the moment we choose our free will, we use our free will to choose Krishna, everything changes. And then the material nature doesn't count. It's nothing to do with material nature then. Because now we do something that's not material in nature. It's a spiritual in nature. Totally different platform. And then Krishna takes control from this. Says, don't worry, I got you. Starts Yoga Maya to start helping us. And then things change. It's in the material world, in the material activities that we cannot change our nature. But the spiritual activity has nothing to do with our nature. It has to do with our free will. Whether we want to serve or not. So that distinction clear is very important distinction. We choose to serve or not choose, regardless of our nature. Okay? Right. No, you go ahead.
During the Mahabharata war, all Pandavas were protected by Krishna. But why was Pandavas' children not? All of them died except one. Why is that?
Great question. He's asking. Krishna was protecting the 5 Pandavas, but why did he not protect their children? That's the question. So understand, when Krishna says, I'll protect you, it doesn't mean you'll have no miseries. This material world is full of miseries. No matter who you are, you'll have miseries. My mother used to say, if you enter a room, it's painted all with black polish, chances are when you come out, there's some black on your body. Similarly, if you are in the material world, you will have some misery. I mean, even when Krishna comes, look at all the misery he had. On the birth date, separated from his birth parents. That very day, within hours. 6 days old, Putana attacks. 3 months old, Shaktasura attacks. 1 year old, Pranava attacks. Then every day, between breakfast and lunch, somebody will attack. That's Krishna. And then he gets accused of stealing the Semantak money. Lord Ram comes, his wife gets kidnapped. He's exiled to forest for 14 years. So these supreme personalities of Godhead. So who are we? So his point is, you will have some miseries. You're devotee or not. So therefore, yes, Pandavas are protecting you, but I'm not saying I'll protect everyone. So for reasons, part of my Leela, there will be an arrangement by which they will be killed. And then we will see how pure devotees react to miseries like this. That becomes a lesson like for us. So one of the reasons devotees get miseries is they become an example for us how to handle the miseries. Right? Many of these, again, a whole new topic. My point is Krishna saying, when I say I protect you, it doesn't mean physically protect you. It doesn't mean that everything about you will be protected. But I protect your spirituality, I may protect you also physically, but not everything. And I'm not guaranteeing no miseries. I'm guaranteeing you come to me, and eventually no miseries. But while you are here in the material world, I'm not guaranteeing no miseries. Okay? Does that answer your question? Okay. Anyone else?
I have a general question is, whatever happens with us is due to our destiny, due to past karma, or is it because we are doing it? Like suppose we are getting anything bad, like some bad thing is happening with us. So is it due to destiny or is it because we are doing it? Like
Yeah. So whatever you're doing now will become destiny some point in the future life. Whatever you did in the past has become your destiny in this life.
so everything happening is due to destiny.
Due to your past karma, which is destiny. Correct. Everything material, everything is spiritual is your free will. That's Krishna's special mercy.
Yeah, one year.
What? Okay.
On that topic, what's the difference between karma and destiny? Is it the same or is it different?
So destiny basically means whatever the karmas determine will happen to you. That's destiny. So whatever happens is destiny. Karma is basically the results of past activities. The relationship is the results of past activities determine what will happen to you, which is your destiny.
But that could be changed, right? Destiny.
Destiny can be changed by devotion
Karma
service.
can't change. Karma can't change.
No, destiny can be changed because karmas can be destroyed by the performance of devotional service. Krishna can destroy them. So yes, you can change it by performance of devotional service, but not on your own, by own other means. Okay.
So therefore we should not have any regrets or anything like that.
Well, it's too late to regret because it already happened. So let's worry about the future now, right? Let's not do things now because it can do in the next life. Right? I think it's time. Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.